Yo, what's going on, snipers, and welcome back to our Albuquerque Aliens Draft Glory franchise mode here in NHL 25. So, in last episode, we simulated through year 10, and it was kind of another disappointing year for this team because we have missed the playoffs for back-to-back seasons after we made it one year. So, I am a little bit disappointed that this team is starting to regress a bit already, which is not a great sign, obviously, because we haven't had any playoff success so far. But I am still at least a little bit positive because we have a very good offensive core. It's just I feel like for some reason we're not generating a lot of growth in the system. We're also not getting the best out of our players. So obviously this offseason we're going to look to try and make our team better so we could get the best out of the roster and also the best out of everybody on this team. Basically the guys in the system, hopefully we could get more growth out of them as well. But yeah, our defensive core I think is maybe holding us back a little bit. Our goaltending is technically getting better because Spezza's up to an 85 now at this point in time. Del Colli's still 77. However, Spezza has been pretty bad as a starting goaltender so far throughout his first two seasons in NHL, as you can see, with below 900 save percentages. So I am a little bit worried that this guy's not going to simulate super well. But we also do have Del Colli, who has been actually pretty good as a 77. He's been the better of the two goaltenders in the last two seasons, so it's a little bit weird. But our goaltending situation technically is getting better. Our defense technically is getting better overall, but I think we just kind of have maybe a mix of too much like offensive and two-way defensemen because we only have the one DFD in Bell. So maybe another DFD in this rotation would actually work a lot better. And I don't know if there's really anybody in the system that could come up next season. Maybe Jordan Lee gets a chance just because he is a DFD, because like I don't even know if I really necessarily want to have somebody like Whitfield maybe in the lineup going forward just because he's another offensive defenseman, or maybe I take Bates out because he's a two-way defenseman or something like that. But I definitely think we need a little bit more of a balanced approach on the defensive side of things because right now it goes offensive, defensive, offensive, two-way, I think. Yeah, two-way. And then we have two-way and offensive. So literally there's only Bell who's defensive. So if we could find another one or two more defensive defensemen, I think that will definitely help us with our defensive play a little bit. And then in terms of like the offensive core, I think the offensive core is getting good, but obviously we are still getting some bad results with plus minus with guys like Bogosian and all that, who is a pending free agent. So we are going to be spending a decent amount of money to try and keep this roster together this offseason, so it's a little bit scary on that front, but hopefully this team can make it back to the playoffs again next year because we already have like a lot of our core kind of guys getting up there in age already, which is kind of crazy. Like Staubitz is already 28, Ristolainen's already 27. Same with Bogosian and Reina. Like those type of guys are the guys that are eventually going to be starting to leave this team because they're getting up there in age. Their contracts are coming to an end, and I don't know if we're going to be able to afford all of them at some stage, but really hoping that we could at least maintain this roster, like I said, and obviously try and get back to the playoffs next year, because if we can't make it back to the playoffs again next year, I honestly don't really know what this team needs, because I feel like we have all the firepower in the world. The defensive core, like I said, is a little bit up in the air. The goaltending is not that bad, but I think it's just simulating bad because of the defensive core maybe, but I'm not really too sure on that. But anyways, before we get into another off season, let's get into your guys' comments and see what you guys have to say about last episode, and then we will get into this year 10 draft and hopefully find some more good prospects because we're going to need those guys maybe down the road. So the first three comments are from Michael Dose. The first one says, I'll guess he puts up 92 penalty minutes and final record of 42, 33, and 7. And yeah, you were not too close. I mean, I didn't even predict that our team was going to be as bad as it was. And he also guessed about 92 penalty minutes for Dag, which Dag is a grinder, which is a really, really interesting player. He actually didn't simulate super grindy, in my opinion. Like 10 points in 82 games, obviously no huge offensive numbers, but only 32 penalty minutes, didn't even have a single fight this year, too. So it's a little bit weird on that front. He does throw a lot of hits, which is good, but he definitely doesn't fight as much as I was expecting. Now, he could obviously get a little bit more grindy as he gets up there and overall, but hopefully he has a better second season. He wasn't the best player in the world. He wasn't bad defensively, though. It was more the second line that was a little bit lackluster with, like, Del Monte being a minus 23. We had also, I think it was Doig? Yeah, Doig being a minus 15, and then also Bogosian being a minus 23. Like, we definitely need that second line to be a lot better than it was the next season. Michael also says, this may sound crazy, but I like Delilah at number 10 pick, even though he's listed in the low 30s. You wouldn't be able to get him in the second round, as I'd expect him to be gone by then. So he's saying to draft Delilah, which is probably the player I'm looking at drafting in this episode. The reason being is because Delilah If we scroll down to him here, you can see that he's probably going to be a low elite, my guess, just because he's already got 3-bar medium elite. He's listed as a gem, and he also has very, very nice attributes. Now, the one problem that eventually we'll get to when Saturn Taku mentions his comments is his weakness, and I'm not too sure if that's going to make us have problems with him in terms of ice time and all that stuff, but I've never really drafted players with a weakness in character, so if we do draft him, hopefully that doesn't become a huge problem. Like, hopefully it's just something that he's okay with. Like, hopefully we aren't just a bad team when we have him. Like, if we are a good team and we have him, he shouldn't be too mad about being, like, I don't know, losing games and all that type of thing. But obviously that is a little bit of a problem, but I think still it's worth taking a risk anyways, just because we need some more offensive help on that team. And also we technically need more defensive help, but there's no real DFDs in the draft, it seems like, which kind of sucks. So we're hopefully going to find ourselves some good players, but I don't know if it's going to be anything that we actually full on need on our roster at the moment. And lastly, Michael also says Dal Coley looks like he may have outplayed Spezza in goal. Granted, he didn't play the same amount of games, but save percentage and goals against looks better. And yeah, I agree. Dal Coley definitely outperformed Spezza. I don't know how, because Spezza being a medium elite goaltender, you'd think he would at least simulate well. But so far in his first 2 seasons, he's been pretty damn bad. So, and the crazy thing is he's trying to get paid big bucks and stuff like that already. So I'm a little bit worried that we're going to end up losing that guy down the road. The good thing is we do have other goalies in the system, but obviously he was the first medium elite goalie we've drafted. So hopefully we could at least find some replacements for him if he continues to not simulate bad and he eventually leaves the team. And our last and final comment is from Saturn Taku. Says, can't say I was crazy about seeing Cooch get dealt, but he was old, so not a huge deal. It also figures that you need a DFD, but there wasn't one available, at least not that I could make an impact right away. Delisle is interesting, but he has weakness of character, so I wouldn't go with him over the others closer to number 10. The team's overall lack of performance and prospect development is concerning, and I don't know what you could do to address it, as I'm not too entirely sure it's a coaching issue. Making the playoffs could be very well have set you back for the medium and long term. And yeah, it's kind of true. Making those playoffs a few years ago probably could have set us back a little bit, which is not great. So hopefully this team is able to respond with a much better season next year. Now, you were saying about the Delisle thing about the weakness in character. I kind of understand why he wouldn't draft him, but I feel like he's better than mostly everybody that is around that 10 spot. Like, if we were to go for guys that are around the 10 spot, I did pin Raimo Peltonen. He looks intriguing. I actually should write down how much, like, the, maybe the ratings are on each of these people. Do I have a pen nearby me even? Probably not. Oh, I do have one. Okay, good. Because I'm going to look through basically all these guys' attributes that I had pinned, maybe, are around our spot, or that I can draft, and see who has the most A's, and maybe go with them. But I probably still will go for the other guy. I feel like he could be an actual low lead, and he's actually listed as a gem too. But if we look at those guys around number 10, so not Mickelson, but Raimo Peltonen, he has an A, he has an A minus. He has a B minus potentially, and a B minus. Those are not all guaranteed, but still, that is Peltonen. We go down to John Standard, who also looks pretty solid. He's got an A, a B, and an A minus. So I think I forgot to write down a player attribute actually for Peltonen here. 1 second. Oh yeah, it was one of the other B minuses, I think. Wait, no, one of the other Bs. Okay, so we got an A minus, 2 Bs, B minus, B minus. Okay, let's just continue to compare these guys a bit, because you can see there's a lot of guys with some good attributes here. Jackson Howard even looks pretty solid, even though he's not fully guaranteed either. He has an A plus, a B, an A minus, a B minus, an A minus, and a B. Russell Drake is an A. He's also got a B, a B, a B, a B minus, and a B minus. A lot of B's on him. Afinasenkov even looks pretty solid. Like, a lot of these guys actually have looking great attributes, so I'm hopeful that this draft class might be the best one we've seen, because that would be nice for the future at least, or even sooner than the future. And then that's when it starts to drop off. Josiah Tripp looks kind of good, though, with his 2 A minus stats at the beginning. Damn, there's actually a lot of tough decisions here, maybe. More than I expected. Okay, so That's all good on that. That guy doesn't look good. Okay, now we start to get to the normal top 6 forwards, and then we have to advance all the way up to here, to the guy we were potentially looking at here in Delisle. And Delisle is maybe looking like the best still out of the bunch. Let's see, double check on them. So I wrote down all the attributes. I'm trying to see on who has the most A-related stats, and it does look like George Delisle would be the best out of the bunch in terms of the attributes because he would have the most A's. Then the next closest after that, there's some guys with 2 A's, but there's nobody with more than 2 A's other than Delisle. So I think Delisle has to be our selection. Even though there's a weakness in character, he's definitely going to be probably the best overall. Is he going to be the best potential? Who knows? But I think I'm going to just take a chance on him because the other guys are intriguing, but at the same time, I don't think we could really go wrong with any of our selections here. Because the other guys have guaranteed probably like top 6 forward potential. This guy could be a lowly that's like a 70 overall plus. So that's why I would probably lean towards going with him instead. Because like Peltonen, yeah, he looks okay, but he's just going to be a guaranteed probably top 6 forward. Could be even a top 9, but I doubt it. Standard's probably not a lowly, but he could be a lowly. No guarantees on that. He's only 2 bars as well, scouted on medium elite potential. Jackson Howard's no guarantee, but he's probably top 6. Drake could be potentially top 6, might be lowly, but I'm going to say more top 6 related. Afinosenkov is a top 4 defenseman, which is kind of nice, but I don't really want him. I need more DFDs than anything. Arkhipov could be a lowly, but no guarantees on that. He's also low potential, so. And then there's Tripp. He's probably a top 6 forward with a high overall, so. I think we're going to take a chance and go completely off the board this year's draft. And hopefully we make the right call with that pick. But I just looking at the attributes, like the attribute spread, it's a lot better, it seems like, for Delisle. I know he's got that weakness in character, but I don't think it's going to become a huge issue for this team. So let's anyways hop on into this draft and see what goes before our selection, see if anything goes off the board, anything crazy. But yeah, I think this is going to be one of the better draft classes we've definitely seen so far in this series. So Winnipeg has first, followed by New York, Pittsburgh, Vancouver, and Calgary. Let's see what they end up taking. Winnipeg at number 1 takes Danielson, who is a 79 overall medium elite power forward. Let's see what he's looking like. Pretty balanced. No X factor, which is kind of surprising for a power forward. But yeah, no real weakness. Should be a pretty solid player for them. New York Islanders at number 2 are going to select the Like, who's a higher overall. Interesting. 81 overall right-wing playmaker. Does have some X factors as well. Yeah, looks pretty balanced as well. And yeah, tape-to-tape and elite edges. So there is Sean Like. Pittsburgh at number 3 is going to select Potter, who's an 80 overall two-way forward. Byron Potter. Not too bad. Yeah, this is definitely, I think, going to be a nice little draft. It's going to be interesting to see how good all these players pan out to be, though. Vancouver at number 4 is going to select Bonvie, who's a 78 overall left-wing playmaker. He has all alone. So pretty good attribute spread for him as well. And then finally at number 5, the Calgary Flames are going to select Koshrain, who's a medium elite grinder. That's interesting. I'm curious on how this guy will develop and produce. Nick Cochrane, I should say. Not Nicholas, but he probably actually was born in Nicholas. But yeah, this guy's got great defensive awareness, shot blocking, stick checking. Like, who knows that this guy's going to be super physical? He probably is because of his body checking and stuff like that, but he could be like a medium elite version of what we have on our roster with Dag. So, going to be interesting to see if that guy's actually a better offensive player or what. All right. Let's simulate to our pick at number 10, see what goes before selection. So Antonio was a 78 overall top 4 defenseman. Mickelson was a 78 overall top 6 forward. And then you had McCauley, who's a 65. Bales was a 74. So, damn. So this guy's a 3-year out top 6. This guy's like a 2-year out top 6, maybe 1 year out. And then Mickelson and Antonio are basically NHL ready, which is pretty insane for number 8 or 7 and 8 in the draft, or 8 and 9, I should say, actually. So, technically, if I was to go with one of those players that we were looking at before, so Peltonen, Standard, those type of guys, I think these guys could be definitely like 74 to 78 overall as well. That means then that technically this low elite's probably even higher of an overall than that, my guess. I honestly don't even know. I feel like he has to be a low lead if he's got medium lead and he's listed as a gem, right? This guy looks really good. Like, I know his stuff isn't guaranteed, but I'm going to take a chance on this guy because I think he's going to be very good. Yes, he's going to have a weakness in character, but sometimes you got to have those weakness in character guys maybe in the lineup. I don't know. I hope this doesn't screw up our chemistry on our team a bit. But, yeah, we're going to take a chance with George Delisle here way off the board. But I would prefer a guy be maybe a low lead over a top 6 forward. So, George Delisle, welcome to the team. This is a big one off the board, so it's kind of weird. 76 overall, only top 6 forward, so never mind. He only had the top 6 forward potential, so that might have been a bad selection. He is a sniper, but he's got the same potential as some of the other guys going beforehand, so maybe that's not as good of a pick as I was hoping for. That means those other guys are probably going to be better now. Watch. But, yeah, he still looks like a really good player. Like, if this guy went second round, that would be actually kind of insane. So, 76 overall is not bad. I don't know if he'll play for our NHL team next season. He could, but I'm not too sure if it's a risk. I need your guys' feedback on that. So, let's see what ends up going after our selection here. So, Afinasenkov was a 73 top 4, so that's pretty solid. But, honestly, I don't really need that. Peltonen as a 74 top 6 forward, so he was actually a little bit lower in overall than Delisle as I expected. Doesn't have any X factors, but still looks good. Let's see what else we got here. Drake was a 73 top 6. What about the other guys? Standard was a 75, so he technically did get a better overall player so far, but a lot of these guys are pretty good, so yeah, this is definitely looking like one of the strongest first rounds I've seen. Not too sure how the later rounds are going to be, but ooh. Oh, man, that would have been nice. I didn't even realize Arkhipov was an elite player. 65 overall playmaker, medium elite, goes 17th overall to the Chicago Blackhawks. Just what they need, right? Just what they need behind somebody like Connor Bedard. It's really good. Boston at number, 18? They select Tripp, who is a 72 overall. So there is some really solid overalls for these top 6 forwards. So I'm hopeful that a lot of them will actually develop for all these teams, but let's simulate to our next pick at 43 and see if there's any guys that we should have probably taken. Any low leads or medium elites here in this round. There's Shing, who's another 76 top 6. Damn. All right. So that was the beginning of the second round. Let's see if we could find any steals here. There's a medium 4 DFD. I guess that's probably what we should be leaning towards here, because we do need more DFDs. And we only have 2 more players left pinned, and they're not supposed to go till... Oh, wait, there's the grinder, though. Do I need another low league grinder? It's another Doig. He's supposed to go this round. I do like a low elite, but I'm not too sure if I should go for him because of the fact we do need more DFDs. Like, at this stage, I don't know if I really need a right-wing grinder. It would be nice to have another right-winger for the 4th line or something like that. Caleb Doig. So far, our low elites haven't developed super well. We are going to get Sagan later on, but is it better to go for a top 4 defensive defenseman because we need one? He's got 1 D stat, 3 C stats. What about that low elite? Let's see him. He has no D stats whatsoever, so Caleb Doig's probably the higher overall technically out of the 2 as well. As much as we need Perezhogin, I don't think he's going to be super good. Because top 4s that go usually second round, I feel like could be kind of like a bit of a hit or miss. So I think what we're going to do is go for the other forward here, the grinder. Just continue to add low leads to our prospect pool. So Caleb Doig, welcome aboard. So we're going to have our second Doig on the team. 64 overall, that's a nice starting point. He's going to be like the right wing version of Dag. So maybe we can have a 4th line with multiple grinders on it. But hopefully he gets some good development. I like that pick a lot. But obviously the top 4 probably was something we needed a little bit more. But I'm not too sure. Not too sure on that. Let's see if we can find out how good he was. That's him, right? Was that him? Perezhogin, did I say? Or was that a different Russian's name? Let me just double check here. Because I want to make sure we're talking about the right guy. Yeah, that was that guy. Okay. I think. Yeah, that was the right guy. So he ended up going next, and he was on 61 overall. So a little bit of a low overall. But, yeah, this guy could have been probably what we needed on this team. But I'm not too sure if he would have developed or not. So let's simulate to our next pick at 76. See what we could snag up in round number 3. And hopefully there's a good selection here. We do have both those, our one other low lead still that we could get in at like the 7th round, probably no problem. Maybe I'll even take him in the 6th round. But is there anybody interesting here? Should we just get random defensemen here at this stage? Like this guy could be a DFD, Elliot Hoffman. Actually doesn't look that bad, but he's probably only going to be a medium 6. But we probably need more defensive prospects, so we might as well just take a chance on Elliot Hoffman here. So bring him in to the team. Boom. 63 overall, and he is a DFD, so who knows, maybe this guy cracks our lineup at some point, just because we need defensive help, but not looking too bad. Doesn't have the highest potential in the world, but as long as he develops to be like a 79, that wouldn't be that bad. All right, let's simulate to our next pick in the 4th round at number 109. Let's see what we could snag up here, if there's anything interesting. Some low 9s, which is, to me, not really that intriguing. And all of them have kind of mid attributes. Is there anything else, though? Is there any guaranteed medium elite kind of random steals? There's a medium elite goalie. I don't think we really need more medium elite goalies, though. There's also Mathers, who could be an elite. He's listed as a gem. Racine's probably not medium elite, but he could be a low elite. Man. Yeah, I feel like so far this draft hasn't been as much as I was planning to. Ooh, this guy's looking intriguing, but he's already 19 years old. I doubt he's an elite goalie in Burkholz. Do I just take a guaranteed medium elite goalie? But since Mathers is a gem, he's probably medium elite as well, my guess. So I'm going to go for Reed Mathers with the selection. So welcome aboard to Reed Mathers. There you go, 47 overall. He is a medium elite goaltender, so at least we got ourselves another goalie prospect just in case Spezza doesn't pan out. I know we don't technically need a lot of goalie prospects, but sometimes it's good just to have as much goalies as possible to see if one of them ends up developing or not. All right, our next selection in the 4th round, as the top 6 forward just went interesting. Let's see if we can find any other steals here. See if there's any other selections. Other than that low elite. I could take a chance on some of these other guys that are supposed to go as well. So, Torsten Jonsson is 19. Let's just take a chance on him, and then I'll probably take Sagan next round. Low 6. Oof, that's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. Was hoping he'd be like maybe a low lead or something that's like a 48, but not the case. Our second last pick here, we're going to take that guaranteed low lead, and then hopefully we can find somehow a steal in the 7th round. So, Dwayne Sagan. He's a low lead two-way defenseman. He is a gem. He is going to be hopefully a guy that could help us out down the road. 52 overall, that's pretty solid. Sucks that he's not a low lead DFD, but a low lead two-way defenseman, I'll take that. He gives us a bit more flexibility in our defensive core for the future. And our final pick of the draft. Can we find the crazy steal? Probably not. Let's see, and look through all these guys and their attributes, see if there's anybody that has something interesting about them. Not really. There's a couple Bs maybe with this guy in Grigorenko, but his other attributes don't look that good. What's his potential looking like? Maybe a medium 4 and maybe a two-way defenseman. I don't know about him. Let me just pin him for a second here. See if there's anybody else that I would maybe take over him. No, so far, yeah, this doesn't look like a good rest of this draft. Like, that first 2 rounds or so was looking good, but, ooh, this guy's kind of interesting here. Alexandre Durand also has a weakness in character, but he also plays for Cape Breton, just like a couple other guys we've drafted, I think was in the series. And then he's got good shooting, good senses, good physical. You know, he's like a low bottom 6. He looks like he's a decent one. That's kind of interesting. So if we look at pin these two guys, but the E stat though for skating for Durand is pretty tragic. But aside from that, he looks actually not bad as a low bottom 6. Grigorenko though is kind of maybe more need. I don't really know. He's actually supposed to get drafted. I might just go for Durand here, to be honest, just because his attributes look a little bit more interesting. So I am going to take Alexandre Durand with the next pick. And the last pick of this draft. And he is a low bottom 6, but a 62 overall. So I knew he was going to have a good starting overall at least. So maybe that gives him a higher chance of making it. But that low bottom 6 potential, he could just stay the same overall. But he's got some interesting attributes. Maybe become something for our AHL team. But I would say in general, that was not as good of a draft as I was hoping for. Delisle looks intriguing. Doig as a low elite is good. We did get a medium elite goalie and another low elite. So actually maybe it was an okay draft. I think we hit on at least 4 of our selections. The other selections are kind of up in the air a bit. But yeah, interesting draft. Obviously now we got to get to the re-sign stage and hopefully we can maintain this roster because I am a bit scared with Bogosian being a pending UFA already. Like I want to hold on to him, but I don't really want to overpay either, if possible. We got to bring back our associate coach, I guess, right? So let's do that here. Give him a little bit more money to try and stay here. But like I like our coaching staff, but for some reason this team's just not working well with them, which is weird. I don't really know what we need. Maybe we do need new assistants. I don't really know. Like our head coach is good, but all right, so in terms of scouts to bring back, we got a lot of scouts to bring back, so let's bring them all back. Radek Rakos. What else we got here? Steve Reyes. Anybody else intriguing to bring back? Jean Autorize. We also got Hines to bring back. We also got, what's your name? Matthew Delisle. Hey, maybe that's why we got drafted that Delisle kid. Maybe because of our scout. Maybe we called him up to the podium and was like, you got to announce the pick. So maybe he did it for us. Maybe that's why I decided to go with that guy with a weakness in character. Because it was his son. Paisley Duffy. What a name. Must be from like Texas or something with a name like Paisley Duffy. Sounds like a country singer. All right, re-sign stage. How much money do we got to spend? $43 million. Okay, it's not too bad. I'm going to leave all these guys unsigned for now, but if you guys think there's anybody that should get their ELC, let me know, and I'll let you do that for next episode, obviously. Bring them in for the AHL. We do got 2 medium elite goalies unsigned, so at least we're kind of building up a little bit of a goalie farm, in a sense. But UFAs, oh boy. Oh boy. Yeah, we are going to have to start making up some room with letting go of guys like Fair and all that in the AHL. Man, this is starting to become a bit of a tough series in terms of actually developing people and all that. So let's start off by going to UFAs here and going to the bottom of this list here. Pecker's not going to get his ELC. He's only a low 6, so it's nothing crazy. Hennessy's got medium elite potential, so obviously he has to get his ELC because obviously that's a good potential to have. Perry is a low 4. 65 at 19 is not bad. We could replace some of these other guys like Fair and all that with him. Low 6. I probably prefer the low 4. So let's get rid of Hale. When was Hale drafted even? 4th round. He's an offensive defenseman, but I am going to let him walk. And then we are going to get rid of Fair. Fair has not panned out whatsoever. One of the worst selections we've had probably. We're going to get Hurd signed up to his ELC. So he's going to be in the AHL next year, which is exciting. Other defenders I could let go of in the AHL, not really. I could let go of David, I'll be honest, at this point, because I think we had to have him scratched all last year. Yeah, we scratched him all 20, 33, 34, so I am going to let him go. We do like walking David around here. But yeah, his time is going to be gone here just because we got to make room for the younger guys. Sometimes that has to happen, so... I'll get Perry signed. I'll get Gardner re-signed again for the AHL just because he's been developing a little bit. Other guys here in the NHL, I'll come back to you guys in a little bit. Eriksson, I don't think he's needed to bring back. What goalies do we have in the system? So we have Spezza and Semenov probably for the NHL next year. Dalcoli would also be here. Gianta. I'm going to let go of both Ollie and Eriksson. Actually, no, I'll bring back Ollie. I'll let go of Eriksson, though. I'll bring back Ollie, but I'll let go of Eriksson. And I'll bring back Dalcoli as well as a third-string goalie in the NHL. Maybe there's a chance he plays more games next year. I don't really know. But Ollie wants 2 wins, so that's an easy little deal for me. Dalcoli, what are you wanting? A one-way deal. Wow. Okay, I wasn't expecting him to want a one-way, but he does want a one-way. We'll just give it to him for the year. He might just be a bench player. Or he might actually play in the backup spot. Depends on how good Semenov does. But Semenov has first dibs at the backup spot. Aside from that, I will come back to those other guys in a second. RFA's here. Jenks isn't going to pan out anymore. We are going to let go of him just to free up some roster space. I will try and still develop Winquist a little bit because he still has that top 6-4 potential. Guite, we might as well hold on to a lot of the forwards in the AHL because I feel like we are lacking forwards in the AHL a little bit. So let's try and hold on to all these guys. Should be relatively cheap, which is good. Oh, man. I hope our team is better next year. I'm a little bit worried. Whitfield wants a one-way deal. Damn, I might have to qualify him because that's a bit expensive for a 76. Camilleri wants a two-way deal, so he's going to get that, of course. What are you wanting, Tulipov? 1.8, that's not bad. You know what? We'll give it to you. We need you on the defensive side of things. Steen and Doig. And then we also have Spezza. What is Spezza wanting? $7.3 million. Well, he's going to get qualified for now. And we're going to have to enter some negotiations probably with him. But 7.3 for a guy that's up below 900 save percentages. He's not going to get that yet. But yeah, he might be one of those goalies that walk to free agency somewhat soon. Stefan Steen wants $3 million. That's pretty decent, I would say, for him. Because he did have a pretty good year last year. 47 points. Could end up being in the top 6 over Bogosian next year. So I'll just give him what he's asking for. But obviously this could walk some of these guys to free agency right away. But hopefully we could kind of negotiate with them a little bit when we get to that stage. Doig wanting 5.4 for 4 years. It's a little bit steep, but he is only 22. He does have that elite potential, but he hasn't been super great, to be honest. But I might have to just give him what he wants. Trying to think. Yeah, let's give him what he wants. I know it's a bit of a risk with that contract, but might as well. And then Whitfield, I think I just have to qualify him and try and get him for a little bit less here. So I'll do that. That's all good and ready to go. UFAs, I might have to honestly let go of Pavel Malkin here. Unfortunately. He was a scratch all season as well. He doesn't really have the space in the AHL for him. We don't have the space in the NHL really for him. So I'm going to let him go for now. Dean Perron probably as well, to be honest. Because I think he was like a bottom 6 guy in the AHL last year. He was technically like their captain. I could hold him onto him as like a depth forward / ringer in the AHL. Because he's not wanting a one-way deal. So let's just hold on to Dean Perron. I wouldn't mind him being just a captain down there in the minors. Bates is a 76. He also wants a one-way deal. You might get replaced, but we'll hold on to you because we can't afford to lose defenders right now. Capaduca and Bogosian. Let's see how expensive they are. Capaduca is actually pretty cheap, but then it walks him to UFA status almost right away. I do like Jesus Capaduca a little bit. 23 goals last season. He is a good 20-goal scorer. He's not the most insane player in the world, but we'll hold on to him for a year and then make another decision again next offseason. And then Bogosian, what is he trying to get? What is he trying to get? Only a one-year deal as well. A lot of these guys are only looking for one-year deals, so I think a lot of them want to go to free agency. Now, his organizational interest is pretty damn low on Bogosian. I think he's definitely one of those guys that's going to walk to free agency sooner rather than later because of that. So, yeah, let's do the 1 year at 4.8 since we don't really have a lot of negotiation room with him. All right, so that should be all good. Let's just advance a day and see if we get those guys to accept that we're waiting on. But I don't know. Something about this Draft to Glory team seems a lot different than the ones that I've had in the past. It just, people not asking for super long-term deals and all that type of thing. Like, and then also we aren't getting the development we're used to. Like, it's a little bit scary. We have $30 million in cap space, so I guess we might have to use one of these guys as a cap oil. So I guess technically I should just give Whitfield what he's asking for, but technically we'll give him a lot more just because we need a cap oil on this team. So let's give him like 15-16 million bucks. I know it's a lot of money, but take the 16.5 million, help us with our cap situation. And then Spezza will obviously be taking probably a good chunk of money as well here coming up, but Yeah, I think our roster is looking good, but I'm still worried on this defensive side of things and all of that. I might play Lee in the lineup over Bates. Like, Bates might be thrown to the AHL. Lee might play because he's a DFD. That's something that we could look into when we get our roster set up. All right, so now that that is all good and ready to go, let's simulate to free agency here. We are just waiting on, obviously, Spezza to sign. I do got to give all the off-season like stuff as well, so I will do that, I guess, in a second here. But I did want to take a look and see if there's any better coaches out there as well, because I feel like we might need some more coaches. And ones that will actually get us into the postseason. I do like our current head coach a lot, so I would hire them more as like NHL associate coaches or something like that. Like I could demote one of these guys at the moment down a spot. But what is there in terms of coaches out there? Is there anybody that's super, super good? This guy's got a lot of A+ categories. I like to see that. Good teaching grades as well. Then there's also this guy. Let's see how good they fit our team. Quincy Nielsen, 49, 48. Not super high on a lot of these guys. The best is Connor Walchuk on a 56. We were looking at Connor Walchuk last season too a little bit. But he doesn't look the best in terms of some of his attributes. But I don't know if a 49 is good enough really for our team. I don't know if that's actually like with the full-on roster. It's not based on the full-on roster, I don't think. Maybe we should just bring him in anyways and then see if he fits our team better. Since he's one of the best coaches available, we are going to just take, let's go with Baines for a second. Just demote him to the AHL associate coach. And we're going to bring in Quincy Nelson, or try to. A lot of other teams are interested in him. It's an assistant coach, or yeah, it's assistant coach we need. So we'll go to assistant coach and just overpay the shit out of this guy. And obviously at the start of the season, since he's one of the best coaches available, we'll see if he actually works better with our team as a head coach or not. He might end up being our head coach if he signs. He might not be. All right. So that's the coaches addressed. I don't know if we need new coaches in the AHL. Let me take a look at their teaching grades here. Yeah, good teaching grades, but they're not growing, these people in the AHL. They're not bad, though. I don't mind our AHL coaching staff. I think I'll just keep the AHL coaching staff the same, to be honest. So that's good. I will now quickly do some off-season focuses on certain players. Not every single player. Maybe I would do every single player, but I will see you guys back up here in a second. Okay, guys, so I gave the off-season stuff to most players, not every single player again, just because some of them aren't super important at this stage. So I think we're ready to simulate up to the start of year number 11. Obviously, we're hoping Spezza accepts his contract relatively soon. But yeah, obviously he's probably, I feel like he's one of these goalies that's just not going to be here super long term based on his play so far. He could prove me completely wrong this year, but right now he's definitely not going to be worth the money that he ends up getting paid probably. So Quincy Nelson has joined the team as a head coach, or assistant coach technically right now. He might be the head coach of this team coming next season, but that is really exciting to see, because if he fits really well with our team, that could be the coach that definitely helps this team actually perform like the team that they're supposed to be. So excited to see if he fits better than our current head coach with the team. If he doesn't, he could be still an assistant and hopefully help our team simulate better with like special teams and stuff like that. So I like that addition a lot. Spezza has not accepted yet, and we're almost into August. So let's see what his asking price is like at this point now. What is he trying to get? Still 6.8. I don't know why this guy thinks he's worth so much, because to be honest, he is not the best NHL goalie right now. You look at his AHL stats from his first year, I would say that's respectable, but it's not insane. His first NHL season on a good team, technically, or good-looking team in my opinion, not very good. Second season, there's an improvement in save percentage, but not in goals against, so I don't really know if he's been good enough. He does have 2 X Factors now, though, he's generated, which is No Timer and Showstopper. So I'm going to still wait a little bit and see if his contract comes down a bit, but he might be a very costly goalie down the road. He was thinking, I think for 8 years, he was thinking he's worth like $15 million, which is kind of outrageous. So hopefully that's not something that we ever have to pay him, because I don't think any goalie's worth $15 million really. And now we have this pop-up, so we should be able to try and get him for less than that, but he's probably going to be still expensive at this stage, my guess. I probably will just re-sign him since we have the cap space, but still, I am not too happy that he's asking for this much amount of money already. 5.575 still is a lot of money for him, but we'll just give it to him because we just need to sign him. That's a lot of money, though, still for a goalie that plays as bad as he does right now. So, yeah, he must have a much better season if he wants to actually get a big-time deal, which I don't think he will. Because we do have other elite goalies, at least in our system now, so I'm not too worried about losing him down the road. But, yeah, he needs to be a lot better if he wants to be an alien for the rest of his life. That sounds funny, saying an alien like that. Alright, so the question now is, what is a roster going to look like, and is it going to look better also with the other coach? Like, I will definitely flip between coaches and just kind of see who works best with our team as well. But first, we need to get it set up the way we want to, so this should be exciting, as it normally is. Let's go to roster moves here, and we will start off with the goaltenders. So Spezza and Dal Colle. Spezza's up to an 87 overall already. So he is growing a lot, which is fantastic, but he's also not that good of a goaltender, which is kind of funny. AHL, I am going to call up... Wow. Oh my goodness. I didn't realize Gianna was going to jump to a 77 too. Jason Gianta is very close to being our backup goaltender too. We are going to call up Semenov because I am going to have Gianta and Ollie in the AHL. And then it's likely going to be Spezza and Semenov in the NHL. And then Dal Colle is the depth goaltender. But obviously, it really depends on who simulates better. Like, maybe we'll give each goalie chances to play in the beginning of the season and then make our decision after that. But I think I want to play Semenov this year because he's been in the AHL for a while. He still hasn't generated really that much growth, but I would rather have him up here for the time being. But shout out to Gianta, though. He's maybe going to be the savior of this team in terms of goaltending, apparently. I like that, though. He might be pushing out these two guys very soon, which is nice. Defensively, we got Tuzolino, Bell, Narena, Tulipov, Whitfield, and Bates. Like I said, I think I'm going to send down Bates, and I'm going to call up Lee. I know Lee's only a 75, but he isn't really growing much. I'm going to call him up because I do need another DFD in the lineup, so that way we have more DFDs in the lineup. So we have a DFD and offensive defenseman. We have a two-way offensive, DFD offensive. That's not terrible. We do still have a lot of two ways in offensive, but at least having two DFDs, I think that might help us out a little bit. Now, Jordan Lee doesn't have the best defensive awareness, but he does have great shot blocking and stick checking. We definitely need to get his awareness up there, but hopefully he helps out our team defensively a bit. It does make us a bit weaker on defense in a sense, but I think it's something we need to lean towards doing because I think that's pretty much some of the problems on the defensive side of things. We have Stelwitz and Doig. Zetterberg probably doesn't need to be up here. I mean, he is like almost like a depth forward. But we do have we have a lot of extra players we don't need. So Zetterberg might be getting sent down here. We also do have Kolars, Del Monte, Capaduca, Deg, and Camilleri. Wow, Bure actually grew to a 77. He's actually going to maybe make it as one of those low-end, low-elite guys. I don't know if we should play him in the NHL this season. We have too much left wingers maybe for him to play. Because I could play him over Camilleri, but they're both minor scoring forwards right now, so maybe wait a year. Pascal Lambert is also getting pretty close as the top 6 forwards, so at least there's some growth, it seems like, in the system, which is helpful. Ahinen as a 77 is pretty close to being a 4th-line center. He does have good face-off stats, but he's not going to push anybody out, so I would probably prefer to send him down to the AHL for the time being. And then we would have at least one more depth. Oh, wow. Cashman, the low lead, is up to a 77 as well. Okay, so we are actually getting growth in the system, which is good. We are getting growth in the system, so that's very nice to see. Very, very nice, because last episode I wasn't expecting us to get growth. Camilleri could play the right side here, so who's the odd man out on offense? Like, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. It's Zetterberg, yeah. That's what I expected it to be. So Zetterberg will get sent down. And let's just go best lines for a second and set this up. Hopefully we have some good chemistry results as well. But we know that the top line last year with Kim on it worked well. But Kim was kind of underperforming. Staubitz wasn't that good on that second line. So I think we're going to actually lean towards Kim being back to the second line again this season. Just because of that. Doig, who was better between Doig and Del Monte last year? 45 points, minus 15. And then we had 43 points, minus 23. So Del Monte, to me, should be on the third line based on those numbers. So we'll go with something like that. Cappaduca there. Bogosian down the middle was pretty bad defensively. I could give a chance to Steen. But that would have 2 snipers on the same line, so I don't know if that really makes much sense. So I probably will go with that as a third line. Steen, Del Monte, and Cappaduca. Dag, Peterson, Camilleri. Camilleri, I thought I tried to get him to change over to right wing, and he said that he would change over. Or no, he said he wasn't too comfortable. That's right. I forgot about that. Because of that, do we play Zetterberg in the NHL? I don't feel like that would be a good idea, though, because he's like a sniper. Yeah, I think we might have to honestly keep with that still. But Camilleri doesn't want to play right wing. He said he wasn't comfortable. I mean, I could ask him again, and he could see if he could play it, but... Right now, it's Betson, Semenov, Dalcoli, the only scratch. Trying to think what we could do. A lot of these guys could probably play on that fourth line, too. Trying to think if there's anybody I would change over to a right wing to see if they want to play right wing. Ahinen potentially could play right wing, but he's a good face-off guy, so it doesn't really make sense. Zetterberg has 84 defensive awareness. How does that compare to Camilleri's defensive awareness? 83. So it's not much worse. Maybe we try Zetterberg this year. I do like Camilleri's play offensively. Defensively, he hasn't been insane. What about his underlining numbers? Takeaways are actually pretty good. Maybe I'll try Zetterberg there at the start of the year. I want your guys' feedback on that, though, because I want to play guys in their actual positions. And if Camilleri doesn't want to change over, we would have to probably move like Cappaduca to like a fourth line right wing spot, which I don't know if I want that. So let's just call up Zetterberg for the time being. Maybe give him a shot this year, because we have like nothing to lose pretty much at this point. So we're going to put him down here instead on the fourth line. Zetterberg in as a sniper. I don't know if I want a fourth line sniper, though. And then defensively, we're going to restructure this a little bit here. So we're going to go with Lee and Whitfield on that top 6 pairing. Tulipov and Norena, of course. And then we have Bell and Tuzolino still. All right, the chemistry looks okay there. Okay, now the question really is... Actually, I should probably put Lee on this unit instead of Norena. Norena could get the other unit. Just want to make sure we get these units set up properly here. So we'll get Kim on here. Norena could take the second unit. But I am going to definitely take a comparison look at each coach and see which one would be the best fit for this team. So right now, we only have a +2 on our third line and on our top 6 pairing. So that's not really ideal. So let's take a look at the other coaches here. We'll go best lines in the AHL for the time being. I'll readjust that in a little bit, but I do want to take a look at the other coaches and see how good they fit our NHL team here. So if we go to the coaching staff, which is, I guess, on the top. Let's go down here. This might be a little bit of a long episode. I don't know for sure on that, though. Riddle is a 56% fit. So... last year I thought he was like a 70-something percent, but it's dropped down to a 56. So that's a bit concerning. Maybe that's why we simulated so bad last year. Wharton, who was our head coach at one point, is currently a 60. That's pretty damn solid. What about the new guy, Nielsen? Hopefully he's a good fit here. Let's see. 60%. Okay, well, we're going to go with him probably, based on that. And Riddle, who was our head coach, is going to be demoted down to an assistant coach. Unless Like is better, though, too. We could check the AHL and see if any of those AHL coaches are actually a better fit. Do I put Like as the assistant coach? I guess it depends if he's a better fit for our team. Let's go to this for a second here. See how good of a fit Like is. 59. That is technically better than Riddle's. So right now, Like might be the assistant coach. And then we also could check on Baines, technically, too. How good of a fit is Baines? 63. Wow, Baines is actually really solid. Baines could be a head coach based on that. But I don't know if his ratings are going to get him to actually simulate our team well. So I think what we're going to do here is move Like to the AHL. Baines is going to be an assistant coach. Wharton's going to be an associate. And then our head coach is going to be the new A+ coach. We're going to definitely take a look and see what the chemistry looks like with that coach. But He seems to work better with our team. And right now, still only a +1 in the bottom 6 on both lines. It's not a +2 on this third line anymore. Should I be separating this top line apart again? I could go back to Kim on the top line, but I'm not too sure if I want that. Need your guys' opinions on stuff like this if it matters much. The defensive core looks a lot better, though, in terms of chemistry, so I like that because it seems like everything works more without any negative consequences, really. Wow, apparently Narena's a really good fit on that top pairing with Bell. That's kind of interesting. Over Tuzolino. I wouldn't want to move Tuzolino down, though. And then goalie Spezza Semenov. What about the special teams? +2. -1. That's not great. Probably because Del Monte and Doig don't really fit this power play. But then you have a +2 there. You have a -3 on this unit, too. Yikes. So a couple of the power play lines don't look the best with this coach, but our penalty kill looks okay. 5-on-5 looks okay. Like, do we just don't care about our power play that much? Like, That's a tough decision. Okay, in the AHL, let's just make sure we have the right guys in. So Skylar Peterson needs to be playing. He's a low lead. He's going to go in instead of Siegel. Because Siegel's a bottom 6 forward, I think. Bure should be a little bit higher in the lineup, but he is already 25, so maybe not. Winquist, does he need to be in? Heatley probably should be in over him. Yeah, maybe instead of Sabrin? Sabrin's a low 9. Yeah, Sabrin can come out. So we'll get Heatley in. Doesn't really matter where these guys are slotted in, to be honest. Unless we want to sort it by potential. So technically, if we go by potential, we have to go with our younger guys on the top line instead. And we'll keep going like that. That's okay. Bure's probably... I would probably have him over Camilleri. Actually, maybe not, I guess, because of that chemistry. Let's just get the potential up there. There we go. That's good. Defensively, hey, looks better on this chemistry, too. That's good. At least we're getting better chemistry results, I think. Perry probably should be in over... Let's see... over Stanley Bates. Stanley Bates should probably be a scratch, to be honest. So I'll get Hurd to the top pairing because he's obviously one of our best prospects. Janicki, I guess he could stay in. Goalies, Gianna and Ollie. Yeah, that's good. That is good. So I think there might be some improvement here with our team. I feel like there's still definitely weakness, but I feel like having this coach might work better for our team. We could also go to the 63% and just see what our lines look like in chemistry in comparison, because even though he doesn't have an A+ rating, maybe that's a better idea for the team. Obviously, we want to have the best coach possible, but let me see. So it was Baines, right? And then we had to have to move Nielsen to assistant for the time being, but... what's his first name? Alan Baines. Oh, he's a 60%. Who was the 63%? It might have been... No, maybe he was only 60. I thought there was a guy that was a 63, though. Or was that like that was a 63? I honestly don't remember now. I'm screwed up. Or maybe he was a 60 and I'm just... He's all of a sudden changed. I don't really know. Huh, I thought he was higher than that. But he isn't. So I guess we'll just go back to Nielsen as the head coach then, by that standard. I am confused. Oh, well. So there is that. Wait, what did it say about the coaching staff being unhappy? Baines is unhappy. I don't know why he's unhappy. He'll be happier once this team actually starts to assimilate, I guess. But, I think that's pretty much that. Is there anything else we want to take a look at? I guess one last thing we'll take a look at is what the draft class is looking like. Just to see what there is in terms of player types. Our player positions. So the top player is a center in Davis Boyce. There's also a right winger center. There's a defenseman. We're probably not going to have a super high up pick, but we might. It depends, I guess, if our team actually decides to make the playoffs or not. But in terms of defensemen going in the first round, there seems like there's a good chunk of them. Hopefully some of them are DFDs because we could use more of those. There's no goalie supposed to go in the first round. Right wingers, there is a good chunk, so it looks like maybe a strong draft for right wingers, which is not bad because we could use some more of those. Left wingers, there's a good chunk. In centers, there's not as much. So it's a more of a winger-heavy draft, I think, than anything else. But anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this episode of Albuquerque Aliens Draft Glory Franchise Mode. So in next episode, we will simulate through year number 11. I really hope this team can make it back to the playoffs because technically with the contract situation, we know that now Staubitz's contract, I believe, comes to an end this coming offseason, and we're going to have to pay him even more money than we were paying him before. So we're getting into that stage where we're going to maybe start losing guys on our roster, but also trying to maintain this roster is going to be kind of tough with the cap situation and all that. But yeah, I'm really hoping that we could at least have a playoff push this year. I don't think this team's necessarily a cup contender yet, but I'm hoping at least that we could get more taste of playoff action. So I think down below, and I'll see you guys next time.